All right, this is a new unit. So for better or for worse, we finished angles. We're gonna keep talking about complementary, supplementary, vertical the entire rest of the year. It never goes away, Damien. We just continue talking about them over and over again. But this one is a unit on coordinate points and the coordinate plane. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll show you in just a minute. All right, so what we're going to start with today is distance. This is a part of it, midpoint, and slope. That's like a subunit of what we're going to do. This will, your project will be about this. A brand new unit. So if you didn't like the other one, Moo, maybe you'll like this one more. Not necessarily you, but just in general. So we're going to talk about distance, slope, midpoint. We're going to talk about lines in the coordinate plane, transformations. That's those three things will be in this unit. And this one will count, this set of notes and this project, and all of that will count for the next 6 weeks. Got it? I sent out progress report to y'all and y'all looked at it today. That's pretty much the grade for this 6 weeks. I haven't put in the project yet, and I haven't put in the formative assignment that we did today, but that's pretty much your grade for the 6 weeks. All right, so please turn this paper. This stuff is for the next 6 weeks because I tried to give you 2 weeks to, like, you know, turn in your stuff. All right. We're going to make 4 boxes. So I turned it landscape. And so I'll have 2 columns. Oh, really? Thanks. How did I lose internet? All right, and then we're going to have 2 columns, 2 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. I should have made this box really, really big, but that's fine. So we have 4 boxes total. We're going to have 2 words on here, Moo. The first one is going to be the coordinate point. This is word number, is it 27? 26. 26. All right, number 26 is the coordinate point. We've talked about the point before, but this is a coordinate point, which is different. I hope once I talk to you about this, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen this. I know what you're talking about. Okay, so the reason the coordinate point's different a little bit than the regular point is that the coordinate point is on the coordinate plane. So for example, you've got X lines. So before I draw the X lines, do X lines go like this or do X lines go like that? Okay, X lines go like this. And I know a lot of people get that confused. X lines go like this. They're going this way, like that. Bless you. Now, the X axis goes here. The X axis is just where the numbers, like you see the numbers, but this is X equals 1. X equals 1 is going this way. Here's X equals 2. Here's X equals 3. X's go like this. The axis is here to tell you this is X equals 1, this is X equals 2, this is X equals 3. That's the whole point of the axis. The axis is just a number line, but this is not an X. This is an X. All right, the next one are the Y's, and the Y's go this direction. The axis just tells you here is Y equals 1, here's Y equals 2, this is Y equals 3. That's the point of the axis. It's just the numbers, but the actual lines go in this direction. So we will practice this and you'll have to eventually take a quiz over this. But like this point right here, this is x equals 2, y equals 3. So in the coordinate point, it's always x and then y. Always, 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 always. That never changes. If you're talking about a Cartesian coordinate plane, it's always x comma y. Always, always, always. Sometimes if you take multivariable calculus, then you'll have x comma y comma z, for example. But we're not there yet. We won't talk about that in this class. You'll do that in a different class. All right, so the idea is the coordinate plane tells you like exactly where everything is at. And a coordinate point is always x comma y. Always, always, always. X is always first. Okay, raise your hand if that's something you knew, like, come on, we've done this before. A couple of you, okay. This is something hopefully you have not, this is not the first time you see this. You took algebra, we talked about the x is always first, then y. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have multiple points. When you have lots of points, so we don't get them mixed up, if we're talking about the first point, then we're gonna label it x1, y1. If we have another point, so we don't get it mixed up, we put x2, y2. If we have a third point, we put x3, y3. We have a fourth one, it's x4, y4. Oops. If you have multiple ones, that's how we can tell them apart. We put little numbers, subscripts underneath, like down here, to show, okay, these are the first point, that's the second one, that's the third, that's the fourth. What we're going to do today and the rest of this week and next week, you're going to have more than one. So that's why I'm pointing this out to you. Because it can be kind of confusing to people. But X always goes first and then Y. That's if you have more than one. Just like there's more than one desk in here, so I had to put numbers on the desk. So we can tell them apart. All right, so hopefully this is review. Can I move this? All right. This is maybe not review. Maybe this is brand new. This is the distance. So for this unit, you have to know what distance is, and then you have to be able to calculate it. So there's always two things in geometry. You have to know something, and then you have to be able to do something with it. We're on page 32, Demarian. Sorry, no, we're doing the notes. We're on page 32. All right, distance, so this is what it is. Once we have your project for the next 6 weeks, well, you will have to know what distance is to be able to know what it is. The midpoint, the slope, how they're different, how you calculate them, and to be able to use them. So just a heads up. So what it is length. It's how far something is. Demarian, do you have your journal with you? Can you get a piece of paper, please? How long something is. That's what we're talking about. When we talk about length, when you get your project and you have different questions, they're not going to say find the distance every time. They're going to say, what's the length of this? How far is this? How long is this? So you're going to have to know that we're talking about distance, that you need to calculate the distance. We're on page 32. You missed the entire project. You'll have to do the alternate project. All right, and this is how to calculate it. So it's two things you have to do for this unit. You have to know what it is and then how to calculate it. Two things you have to know for this unit, like what it is, can you be able to use it, and then to calculate the actual distance. So for distance, we have a formula. This is the distance formula. You do not have to memorize it. You will be able to use your notes when you take quizzes in here. So you have to copy it exactly as it is, because if you copy it incorrectly, then it's going to mess you up later. So it's a big square root, like a really, really long square root. Everything goes inside. So if you make it too small, Demarian, it's not going to fit. Can you please take the notes or doing the countdown, so if you, when you have your phone out, every time it's points taken off, please. All right. You put parentheses. You have to put parentheses. And then it's going to be y2 minus y1, close the parentheses, squared, plus, let me walk around, make sure everybody has that so far. You'll be able to use your notes on this unit, but if you don't have very good notes, it's not gonna. All right, the next part's the same thing. So it's gonna be x2 minus x1, close the parentheses, squared. Notice I had to extend my square root. Everything goes underneath the square root. The entire thing goes underneath the square root. You have parentheses, you have minus, and you have a plus in between them. So it's almost just like the other one. Did you copy it already? Full thing, please copy. Everything's underneath. Can you make your square root, can you like all the way cover everything? Because it needs to look like that when you do it in a calculator. If you don't have it exactly like this, then it's going to be wrong. Steven, can you please copy the formula from the board? Can you please make the square root all the way cover the entire thing? Yeah. Whoa, okay, maybe not that one. But yeah. Can you copy the formula? B equals the whole thing. Parentheses y2 minus. I still have parentheses. Okay, can you copy the formula, please, student? You're gonna need it for the entire 6 weeks. Let me pause this real quick because I think there's like 1 or 2 people still, or 3. Now, when we do this example, here's what you have to do. Here are your steps to be able to use this formula. I've been doing this for a minute. I'm telling you, if you don't follow the steps, it's not the end of the world. But most people that don't follow the steps do not get this correct. So please follow the steps. First thing, you're going to label the points. Here's how you label the points. You always label them this way. X1. Can y'all see that? Y1. X2. Y2. So they're going to give you points. You always label X first and then Y. X, then Y. This, notice, pay attention. Please pay attention. This, the way you label the points is different than this. They're not the same thing. This is the formula. This is the way you have to do it. The way the points come in are not the same exact way. Pay attention to that. That's the part that most people mess up on. They want to copy this the same exact order, and it does not work that way. These are Y values. These are X values. Okay, pay attention. Make sure you have that correct on your paper. So let me pause this, walk around, make sure everybody has this copied on their paper. So Y. All right, so let's do an example. 8, -5, 0, 7. We'll do one together, then you can do one. You'll get an extra credit check if you can do it correctly. Now, am I recording? Okay, good. Why am I frozen? Oh. All right, you're gonna put a big square root, very big square root, very big square root. All right, and then you start with parentheses. You're copying, like a formula tells you like exactly, do the same thing. Don't make up your own thing. Don't do something weird. Do exactly what it says. I say weird because there's always people like, I don't know how you're getting this when it tells you what to do here. All right, it says Y2. So can you tell me, Kayla, which one's Y2? Yeah, so put 7. You just copy, like that's why we label it so we know what's Y2. Minus, because the formula says minus. Then it says Y1. Can you tell me, Moo, which one Y1 is? Sorry? Y1? It's not 5. It's -5. And it really, 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 really matters. It really, really, really matters. Okay? And then after that, you have to put the squared. And then after that, you have to put the plus. When it's minus and there's a negative, you have to put minus negative. You have to have them both. All right, and then you put parentheses. X2, can you tell me X2, Ashton? X2. X2. Yeah. Minus X1. Damien, can you tell me X1? Damien, can you, sorry, Demarian, can you tell me X1? X1, yeah, sure, 8. Close the parentheses, squared. All right, and then we would put this in the calculator into decimals. We're gonna write decimals for now. We're gonna do decimals when we come back. Now you're gonna do one by yourself. And you're gonna label X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and then you're gonna put it in your formula. Okay, that's what we're all doing now. 10, 3, -9, and 4. So label X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Put it in your one. So we labeled the points. We put them in our formula. Y2 minus Y1. There's no commas here. We put the squared, and then we're going to put it into our decimals calculator. So please go to decimals. Please go to decimals. And you're going to put this into decimals. Then I'll walk around, give you a pink check once it's at decimals. This is either your laptop or your phone. Square root.
Which one?
The 4, the one with the 4. Parentheses, I'll put on the board 4 minus 3 squared plus parentheses -9 minus 10 squared. And this is what you should get. So look, the square's right here, and then the square root's right under it. So everybody's putting this in their calculator, either on their laptop or their phone.